And IMDb is owned by Amazon, so IMDb also knows if Amazon, if you've watched the
Uh,
movie on Amazon and so on, right?
IMDb is very important to have a high rating because when we pitch films to Pluto, they want to know the IMDb rating, and I know that that can get kind of sometimes somebody can go on there and put a lot of 1 stars, but IMDb is a very important.
And also Rotten
And yeah,
Tomatoes. And so we coach all of our filmmakers how to maintain their IMDb scores, their Rotten Tomato scores, and how important reviews are to get on Amazon. Rotten Tomatoes will build a page for you because an individual is not going to get one. It used to be that if you had a theatrical, you would automatically get one. But we have a great relationship with
yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, and so we get pages for all of our filmmakers.
And I would love to pick your brains a little bit more on this marketing aspect, because you guys have, 1,500 films and you've got all these filmmakers who chat to each other in this private community. So there must be a lot of different ideas floating around as to how you can creatively market your film. Because what I find is that most filmmakers, they're really creative when it comes to making the film, but suddenly when it comes to marketing, the creativity just goes out the window and it's right, let's just post really boring content. And I'm wondering whether you can share any stories that are, original marketing campaigns that filmmakers have done, that you know of, where it was like, oh, that's different. That's new. That was a great little guerrilla, stunt marketing campaign that someone did, which got the word out about their film.
Um, the only kind of exciting one really that I've seen is when we premiere a movie we have a YouTube channel, an AVOD YouTube channel. It works just like Tubi. You get paid for every ad that's seen. And when we premiere a movie on YouTube, it's a live event and it's like a theatrical
Oh
event.
yeah.
And
So we have a film called The Seeds, and I always when I put a film up on Amazon and then Google Play, and then Tubi, Fossum, that's kind of the order I do them. But I also put it up on our YouTube channel. So and I usually do a premiere 6 months out so that we can do the TVOD and then the AVOD for the bigger platforms, and then go to a market usually. And then after we do all that, we've kind of exploited what we think we can do with the film from that point on. Then we put it on YouTube, and I mark a premiere, and most of the time people don't take advantage of this, but the filmmaker for The Seeds took advantage of this. It came out on a Sunday morning, and he had all of his friends and family. He lives in Wichita. They all got onto went to the premiere and started talking in the chat box.
it's an actual live event.
And it just started swelling, and like we had thousands of people watching it, and I never saw that before, and that film did really well, because what that does is that tells YouTube that this is a really good popular video, and they start recommending it to other people, and that film's done very well in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it did $50,000 in a very short period of time.
Yeah, so
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really exciting.
So
that's really great.
Yeah.
I find one story that I love to share about a filmmaker, the filmmakers behind the film Host, where they were doing a film festival circuit. And, most filmmakers, when they have their film screened at a film festival, it goes the same with sort of self-distribution or distribution, when they're marketing films. Most filmmakers just go to the film festivals and they just kind of go and they show up and they leave, and no one really remembers them or the film. But they decided to do something different. They decided to do something that was going to be memorable. And basically at the end of their screening slot, all the directors were invited on stage to do a panel discussion. And in the film, there's this storyline that if you create a ring of salt around you, it will protect you from the demons or whatever that was. And basically the director came on stage after all the other directors came on and sit down. The director of Host came up on stage with a bag of salt, and he created a ring of salt around his chair, and then he sat down with a dead serious face, and everyone was talking about it for the rest of the film festival. And here I am 5 years later talking about this story. And that is that great idea of like this outbound marketing, where inbound marketing, whereas outbound marketing, you have to go and promote and promote and promote. Inbound marketing, you can create something that's going to get people to promote the film for you and talk about you.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to do something that's memorable. So I love these type of stories which show filmmakers you can actually have a lot of creativity without spending money in when it
Right.
comes to marketing, which is really interesting.
That's why
Um,
these marketing groups that filmmakers are setting up and building these huge communities around, their films and their friends' films and the people that get involved in those groups. It's really, really powerful because a Facebook page, really doesn't do much for you anymore. It's kind of replaced a website to have this Facebook movie page, but Facebook groups are extremely powerful.
absolutely.
So
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
we really encourage that.
I also want to ask you a question. I mean, we talked a little bit about user reviews on Amazon and IMDb and so on. But what about professional reviews in terms of, getting bloggers to write about you, YouTubers? And what I'd like to sort of point out with this is most filmmakers who go out and they try to get these professional reviews, usually the email back that they get is would be $50 or $100 for a guaranteed or an expedited review. And the question is, have you guys seen that it's worth the cost to get these professional reviews? Do filmmakers in your group talk about these and yeah, and whether they're effective or not?
I don't really think it's a good idea to pay for reviews. There are certain techniques that we teach our filmmakers when it comes to getting Rotten Tomato reviews. The Rotten Tomato reviews are the most important because also some of the platforms are asking for Rotten Tomato scores too. So what we do is we teach filmmakers to find films that are similar to theirs that are very successful and pull those up on Rotten Tomatoes and then see who all the reviewers were for that film and then write to them. Now, the fact of the matter is, for every 20 people that you write to, you're going to get one response. That's the average. So it takes a lot of elbow grease. But I've had filmmakers say, oh, I can't get anybody to do it. And then once they try doing it that way, they'll get 20, 30 reviews. We have tons of filmmakers that have 100% Rotten Tomatoes. And it's because they're very selective about who they write to. And that's the best way, is to find similar films. If you have a horror film that's about vampires, go see who reviewed and make sure the film's not too old. And always, Rotten Tomatoes is smart. They publish a list of all of the critics that are approved for Rotten Tomatoes. And I wouldn't, focus on too much else other than ones that are approved for Rotten Tomatoes. Now, there are specialty podcasts, but most of those podcasts have critics that are approved on Rotten Tomatoes, and they're all listed on their website. So check and make sure who you're writing to, and maybe you can get, if you've got several people in your crew that might be willing to help you do it, because it's a lot of work, but it's worth doing. And when you where's the book? Yeah. So when we go to the market, we have always put in here a tomato if you've got your good Rotten Tomato reviews. It helps. People look at reviews; they just do.
Absolutely.
Buyers, that they're exposed to thousands of films at a market. So what you have to think of what's going to set your film apart from other films. And so any attention you can draw to it is worthwhile.
Mm. We talked a bit about social media as a marketing tool, having a YouTube channel, user reviews, professional reviews, Facebook groups. Is there anything that we missed in terms of tools, strategies, platforms that filmmakers can use to help market their film?
I'm not thinking so much of marketing, but something that we haven't talked about that is really starting to surface is like AI tools and dubbing. And we at the past two markets, we've been approached by many companies that now offer really very, very reasonably cost dubbing. Dubbing, it used to cost like between $10,000 and $20,000 to get a film dubbed. Well, there are companies now that are doing it for under $1,000, $600-700 to dub a film, which is really, really reasonable. Then also, there's a couple of things going on in the marketplace right now that's very interesting. Because we've been partners with Amazon for so long, we were invited to participate in their beta testing of their dubbing, and they are now dubbing our films. They started with Spanish and making that available on Amazon Prime. So, like, if you want to see a good example of that, there's a film called Long Lost, and if you look on Amazon, you can see there's a choice of watching it either in Spanish or in English. And so
It's really good too.
It's human with AI assist or AI assist with human touch, and they're doing an incredible job. So now filmmakers have a choice. They can either get their film dubbed, or they can wait and see if Amazon's going to dub it for them. The problem with Amazon, it's not a problem, but Amazon is not going to give us a copy of that dub version, so it will only live on Amazon. Whereas some of the other companies that we're working with, they're giving us a copy of the dubbing that they're doing and then sharing the revenue with us in the territories where that dubbed version is going. And that's just opening up the world to us. So we now on our YouTube channel, you can see a film called Surrogate that's been dubbed into Spanish, and it's doing really well. In a couple of days, it's made way more than it's made on some of the domestic platforms in the United States. So this, I think, is a whole new world opening up and expanding, the opportunities. And then once you have it in a foreign language, then that expands where you can do your marketing. Because you can specify where you're marketing, you can target your marketing.